Says live on YouTube on my end.
Yep, I see that too.
Looks like
Yep.
it's just loading. Okay, and we are good.
Call the meeting to order. Says live on YouTube on my end.
Yep, I see that too.
Looks like
Yep.
it's just loading. Okay, and we are good. All right, I gotta shut my YouTube off, or it's gonna or mute it.
Call the meeting to order.
There we go.
Did I call the meeting to order?
Yep, you're good. Sorry.
Okay. Approval of agenda.
I was telling a couple of these guys before we got on, I do have one addition to the agenda, which we can do before open discussion. And it's just going to be a Boone County Trails Advisory Committee update. As far as the Boone to Ledges route goes. And I've just got a map just to kind of update you guys and show you and get your thoughts on the different routes. Namely Maryland, because she lives right along the route, one of the routes that is being proposed. So other than that, I have no changes.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Minutes of the previous meeting.
I sent those out here. Well, I guess Jennifer sent them out following our last meeting. And I have them here. If anybody hasn't seen them, I can pull up a screenshot, but if not, everything looked good on my end. So.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I make a motion for minutes as written.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Review of financial information.
I'll go ahead and just pull up the bills, screen share the bills here. Click through those real quick. Can you guys see my screen here? Excel spreadsheet of the bills.
It kind of looks like it's starting to, it just says you've started screen sharing.
Yes, it's a spinning
Yes.
wheel.
The spinning wheel of death.
Oh, wonderful. So technology is not going to be on our side tonight.
The Wi-Fi is
Well, yeah, do you guys all have a copy of those in front of you?
Yeah, I can pull it up again.
Okay.
yeah, I can get them on the phone.
Let's see here. All right, I'm just gonna buzz through these. Note anything that we typically, anything that's out of the ordinary. Bolton Hay for the 1,463.60. That we had our grill went kaput up at the clubhouse, our gas grill and griddle. So we had to get that replaced. That's what that was for. Keep rolling here. Carson Electric, 11,577.96. That is going to be for the electrical upgrades in Campground C. And that's basically just the labor and then the wire. We had already purchased the pedestals and everything previously when we first started rolling on that project. Moving on, Conley's Trucking, that is for the White Rock Hall and for Campground C, the 28 pads. We had a 4-inch base of the 1.5-inch roadstone with the fines on top. And that one's the $21,689.94. D&D pest control, quarterly pest control for our cabins and the clubhouse. You'll see a few other names. Emily Winker, there's a few of those. Those are either cabin or shelter reservations that have been canceled due to COVID-19. And like I was talking to Greg earlier, I've got all those tracked. So if there is any funding down the road to be reimbursed for those, then at least we have proof that we paid them back. So moving along, ICCS, that's our fiscal year 2021 membership for our services through ICCS, which include My County Parks, all of the other correspondence that we get through My County Parks. This membership is part of Boone County with ICCS as well. Intensity, we just got more stock of our shirts for our seasonals and then our other employees as well. Iowa Sportsman's doing some more advertising. They had a pretty good deal for their June, July, and August issue as far as advertising our cabins, which we've actually seen. We started that this last fall, and we've actually had quite a few people that have said, "Hey, we found you in Iowa Sportsman's." That's a good advertising opportunity that we jumped on. Jets Outdoor Power is for the 7,680 is for our golf carts up at the golf course here at Don Williams. Marjorie Benson, she's our campground host down at Swede Point, and she purchased some items for the shower house down there as far as the painting and the epoxy of the floor and some other odds and ends, things that Blaine and her had been involved in here over the past couple months. Those are all in the bills too. Martin Oil Wholesale, fuel. Trying to see if there's anything else in here. Michael Johnston was a golf refund. Right when the folks got started up there, they had sold. This gentleman walked in and he had bought a cart shed spot, the storage, and the cart usage fee for the year. Well, he wasn't on our list. He had just walked in and kind of act like he owned the place apparently, and so they sold it to him. And after he left, they went through their list and they didn't see him on their list, and so we had to contact him and ask him how he wanted to handle that. We put him on the cart shed list, but he's not from around here and he didn't want to haul his cart around all over, so we told him we would refund him for that since it was our mistake. And now our folks at the clubhouse look at the list before they make any sales for the cart shed. So Midland Power, just waiting on the bills for that. MTI mower repairs, Toro mower repairs. Blaine had a starter go out in his mower down at Swede Point, which is to the tune of about $400. And then a few other odds and ends, belts and things like that, general maintenance type stuff. Municipal supply, we got some fittings and some pipe clamps for some of our water lines that run over the bridge out here at Don Williams that we have leak problems with. Ogden Farm and Feed, we had some metal fabrication work done there. And then we've fixed, I think 3 of the irrigation breaks up on the golf course. So that attributes a lot to that. Pritchard Brothers, we had a water heater go out over the weekend a few weeks back in one of the cabins. They had to come out and service that and do replacements on all the elements, which wasn't cheap, but we didn't have anybody around, of course, that weekend. Typically, Eric or I could have probably done that. Well, Eric could have, but he was gone for the weekend. We have Rhonda Jacobson, shelter reservation reimbursement. Star Energy, Summer Fill for our LP. The Messenger, our annual golf directory that we've been doing for North Central Iowa. That's the advertisement for that. Turfworks, we had a motor go out on the back tire of one of our mowers up here, our Batwing mower. So we had to get a new motor for that. Van Wall Equipment, We had service. That's a lot of that service, fuel or sorry, oil filters, air filters, and things for our John Deere skid loader down in Madrid. And then we also had some issues with our Gator up here at Don Williams. Trying to think if there's anything else. Youngren Excavating, Dave Youngren from up the road came out and saved our life as far as a water main break. He was able to bring one of his big excavators out. We had a main that was broken on a hillside out here at Don Williams that we didn't have any equipment to get to. So we got a hold of him and he came up and helped us out and dug that up for us. So, and then we have Reap Bait Shop from Builder's First Source, or I believe that was for fascia and soffit and a few little odds and ends. We're just wrapping that project up right now. So anybody have any questions on anything?
Nope.
Okay, I do have those bills. They're at the auditor's office right now. Beth is processing those, and she told me she'd get a hold of me tomorrow afternoon at some point, and then need them back on Wednesday morning so supervisors can approve them. So if there's a couple of you that could be available tomorrow afternoon at some point, we can meet up somewhere. The courthouse is open now, so we could even meet up there if that works for a couple of you.
Yeah,
I heard Marilyn and Greg.
I could be up there later in the afternoon.
Okay, that's fine. She, like I said, I just dropped them off to her this afternoon, so she thought it'd probably be early to mid-afternoon before she had them done anyway. So
All right, that sounds good. I'll do it then on later afternoon.
Just remember that the storm's coming tomorrow afternoon too, though.
that is tomorrow afternoon. Okay.
I think it's supposed to be out somewhat late afternoon, maybe.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll just keep an eye on things as far as the weather goes, and then I can get a hold of you, Marilyn, and then somebody else available possibly.
Yeah, I could too. And if you're over to Don Williams or something in the evening more that day, I could run over there too, because I'm north of town.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just plan on getting a hold of you guys tomorrow afternoon. We'll kind of see what the weather does and then go from there. And then, yeah, we'll get them back to the auditor's office so they can be processed.
Okay.
If something doesn't work for somebody, I can go somewhere too.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind too. So. All right. And then I've got the other financial stuff here, and I'll kind of run through that when I go over the end of year budget stuff with you guys here in a little bit. So, were you guys able to see that screen share at all?
No,
No. I don't know what happened. Well, I'll try again when we get to Katie, it looks like, and hopefully it works. All right.
you ready for old business?
Yeah.
Response and policy for COVID-19 virus situation update.
Yep, I just wanted to kind of update you guys on where we were at from our last meeting. If you guys remember the beginning of last meeting, we had come up with some new policies, some new rules and regulations for campers with guidance from the DNR and Iowa Association of County Conservation Boards and a lot of the other directors around the state. We put those policies in place shortly after our meeting. I think it would have been that following weekend. And we've had pretty good success with those things. Katie and Blaine have done a really good job keeping on people's butts, making sure they're following the rules, along with the rest of our staff. We've been trying to, make sure people are pulling in, backing in, not camping in groups and things like that, which for the most part, from what I understand, Katie and Blaine have told me, most people are being compliant. There's a few bad eggs, which there always is, but for the most part, we haven't had any problems to that. But we also just opened up our shower houses, 2 of the 3 here last weekend. We have Campground A opened up and we have Campground B opened up. We've been working up in C, and we're waiting on a part for the boiler and the shower house in Campground C. So we're hoping to have that done back and repaired and in by the end of the week, so we can get that window opened up as well. We were able to open up campgrounds last week too, which a lot of people were very happy with. It seems like more people were upset about those than anything else, which is understandable. Their kids need places to play and things like that. Me having a 2.5-year-old, I fully understand now. So but yeah, other than that, we've, again, our cabins are all open. We've had a lot of the reservations that have been canceled, filled back up for the season, and probably more, especially during the week. Because we typically had a lot of the weekend dates filled, typically in May. But we kind of slowed down with all this COVID stuff going on, but they've started picking right back up and doing good on those as far as reservations for the summer. Golf, we've been open for golf here for a few months. We only closed there for a few weeks when things kind of started happening with the pandemic, but we've had really good numbers coming in as far as revenue from golf. A lot of folks are loving the new clubhouse concessionaire that we have up there. She's got great food. She hasn't opened up to full service yet, but she's still doing to-go orders, but she has our end open, taking golf money. So I've kind of left it up to her as far as when she feels comfortable opening. So she's thinking, I talked to her the end of last week, and she's thinking probably within the next week or two, she'll be opened up for full service. So, and of course with that, and then also our shelters, everything still has to be at 50% capacity. So she's going to kind of worried about, making sure she's staying compliant with that, because she's along with a lot of businesses are worried, that they're going to have inspectors come in and they're going to get popped and lose their license or get fined and things like that. So she just wants to make sure she has all her, ducks in a row before she opens up to full service. So, again, like I said, shelters, we've been reminding folks that, 50% capacity, which isn't a ton of people for some of our shelters, but it's, a lot of people understand and they're willing to comply with that. And those that aren't able to, we've issued refunds for. So, but other than that, Katie, do you have anything to add as far as policy things, staff? Again, we've been operating under kind of the same way we have been since this all started. Guys have kind of been rotating lunches and things like that in the break rooms, rotating breaks. So everybody's not in one place at once. But yeah, we're busy. It's like I said, we're pretty much back to full operations as far as having staff, having our facilities open and things like that. So, which is good. It's been a long spring. We're ready to get rolling here. So, but other than that, anybody have any questions on anything? Any comments from the public?
No.
Okay. Yeah, just to add to that too, camping's been, of course, very popular since we've opened up. We've got Campground C pretty well fully opened up. All the upgrades are done there. We're just waiting on 10 sites for campground markers for those sites, and then that'll be fully open. And we opened part of it this last weekend, and we had probably half full, I would say, of the area that we had open. And then the rest of the campground was pretty full. So we've camping's definitely up, golf's up. I think cabins we're going to see up too. So everybody's wanting to get outside, which is awesome. It makes us happy. So, but that's pretty much all I have on that, unless anybody has any questions.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, we got a quarterly naturalist update.
All right. Take it away, Katie. Do you want to try to screen share these?
I'll try to screen share and see if it goes. Sorry, my dog is sneezing in the corner. So.
Oh shoot.
She's
Your
fine.
screen froze, Katie.
Yeah. Oh,
Did
did
everybody
it?
else?
Not the worst thing she could
Am I
do
the
in
only
the
one
corner.
that froze?
Did it freeze? Let me see. I haven't even tried to screen share yet, so let me see what happens. Host is disabled participant screen sharing, Tanner.
Okay, there we go. My internet connection is unstable.
Okay. you'll have to enable participant screen sharing
Okay.
in order for me to be able to share. But it's not, you know, I don't have a lot to update on. I haven't been doing a lot the last couple months, at least program wise. So,
Okay, did that work?
yeah, let me see. Screen, share that. Did that pop up? Can you see this now?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
there we go.
Awesome. Woohoo! So as you can see, I had a heck of a lot of programs potentially set up for the springtime, March through March, April, and May, going into field trip season, and they all got canceled. So I only had one program done since the last time I talked to you guys, and actually I did that program before, but it happened to fall in the March dates. So I was supposed to go see at Madrid Elementary and Boone Middle School, do Sacred Heart and Trinity, and then I had a whole bunch of the outdoor recreation classes scheduled with the Boone High School again. One of the PE teacher there. They've offered it several times in the past, and last semester she didn't have it, but then this semester she was supposed to. So we're supposed to do all sorts of fun outdoor activities with Boone High School, and those didn't get to go. Neither did our outdoor classroom, unfortunately. So I missed out on a lot. I was supposed to have a new one with Ridgeview Middle School, which is actually over in Holstein. I never got the full scoop as to why she wanted to come all the way over to Camp Sacagawea, but she wanted to do a field day for her sixth graders. So that would have been really fun. Hopefully in the future, we will get to do those again. We'll get to do those, start off. I was supposed to also have my Madrid Middle School field day, where the 7th and 8th graders come up to Don Williams, and we do a bunch of survival, fire building, shelter building, fishing, all sorts of fun stuff with them. We rotate that every other year. So that was supposed to be our year to do that. Didn't happen. That's the theme for the day for me, unfortunately. My public programs didn't have a lot. Normally I would schedule more kind of as the spring laid itself out. I would have had more to schedule in April, or at least May, but since this hit in March, it didn't go. So I'm supposed to do a nice little program with the Erickson Public Library. They do a little engines for Little Tots, and the Iowa Public Television actually videos it.
Oh,
So that would have been a really fun one to do. And you go live on Facebook ahead of time and talk about, the presenter and all of those things, and then you do your program for them. So hopefully that will be another one that Zach will reach out. I assume he will. And he had a couple other things scheduled for this year too that we won't get to do. Moonlight floats. I haven't done a moonlight float yet. I'm hoping to be able to do, some floats coming forward in July. We'll talk about that in a minute. Private programs, most of my Beckwith Adult Day Care Center didn't go. Did those all winter though, so that was good. I had some good programs with them. The only program that did get to go was there's a leadership program for Boone County for the local entrepreneurs, and Andy Bartlett out at Ledges was in charge of leading one of them, kind of doing an outdoor recreation type program, and so I helped him with that. We went out and with about 8 to 12 people at one point in time, hiked out to the High Trestle Trail. I taught, I gave them the history of the area. And then we went back to Ledges and we hiked through Ledges and ended up doing a midnight or a night hike, which was a lot of fun. And then ate dinner, and Dave came up and talked about the High Trestle Trail and his business down for the trail too. So that was fun. I'm glad that I got to do that one at least. Other than that, Sabrina and I did a video of the lake. We did kind of a virtual paddle around the lake. We it wasn't the quality that I was hoping it to be, because poor Sabrina had to hold the phone between her knees in order to paddle the canoe around the lake. So we got a GoPro, or a decent camera. So hopefully going forward, we'll be able to do some better educational videos, ones that are not being held awkwardly. So we'll get that. And then tomorrow, actually, Iowa State, the past several years I've been trying to do a program with the Ag Discovery, there's a veterinarian who leads this Ag Discovery program for students all around the US. And they sign up and they come to Iowa State in the summertime for a week to 10 days. And she does a whole bunch of different stuff with them at Iowa State. And the past several years, we've been trying to get a hike down the High Trestle Trail, but the weather has been, it was storming one year and it was like 110 degrees the other year. And since most of these kids are not used to being outdoors, we decided not to. This year, she's not going to be able to do it in person, so she's going to do virtual. So tomorrow, she's going to come out to the park office, and we are going to do some real professional videos about the turtles and owl pellets and some of the other critters we have in the office. The hope was also to do a High Trestle Trail hike, but I doubt that's going to be happening with our tail end of hurricane weather that's going to happen. So tomorrow we'll see what happens. So that's what's on. Those are there. And then I can't get to, hold on. See if I can get to it. Oop. Just trying to get over here to my quarterly update. Now, is that still screen sharing for you?
Not right now.
Okay, let me pull back up. It exited. How about now?
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome. So did kind of the updates with Facebook and trying to keep the public updated on the closures that we had going on, and completed wildland firefighting training, and we did the field day. So I did all the online courses for that. So I now have, was it type 1, type 2? Remember?
S130, S190.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow,
so it's
and
the
firefighter
basic.
training.
Yeah,
Basic
the basic firefighting. Perfect. So did that. We've been checking on our Kestrel boxes. Had kind of some sad news with those. We had several pairs of boxes, several pairs of Kestrels that looked like they were breeding and going in and using the boxes. And then this last time we went to check on them, there were no evidence of adults at all. At least through 3 boxes that were active before this. So I don't know what has happened to the adults. I'm curious as if that maybe somebody locally has been poisoning rodents and they've been eating poisoned rodents and they got killed. That's about the only thing I can come up with, because Tanner would see him every single day driving past. I would see him every day. Sabrina would see him every day. We saw the pairs actually copulating like in the field, and then we saw them the male taking rodents and snakes and stuff into the box to feed the females. And then when we went to check on them 2 weeks ago, they were gone. No evidence at all. So I don't know what happened. Well, we do have two boxes that are going. I emailed you guys a picture of a kestrel in one of the boxes. She was sitting on her eggs, and we tried to count how many eggs she had, but she would not leave the box. So I think she was trying to push out another egg, which was kind of funny. But so Sabrina kept sticking her hand in there and she kept biting her. So I'm like, well, okay, we'll snap a few pictures and then we'll leave you alone. So we have at least 2 boxes that have eggs in them. I was hoping for 5. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe some of the other ones they'll re-nest again. So did have to remove some starlings, unfortunately, but that's pretty typical with these boxes. So working with the Y camp, well, we did before COVID happened, to try to get some more hours and hands-on hours with their red-tailed hawk and their barred owl, so we can use that for programming when programming happens again. The other big thing that I've been doing has been working with the DNR and INHF and the other entities to build the new vision and mission plan for Clover Woods. So I've been in on several meetings with those guys to kind of create and work on fleshing out the mission for what they want to with that going forward. So it's been kind of fun. Definitely going to be education based, which is real nice for at least my side of it. So we'll see how that goes. It's been kind of quiet the last couple of weeks. We got to a point where we built something and then it's been on hold because the DNR has been on hold with their process of purchasing the actual property. So it's been a little bit slower there. So my sister came back again this year to retrap the squirrels that she trapped last year, put little trackers in them. Unfortunately, we didn't find a single squirrel out of the 5 that we put a tracker in up here at Don Williams. So Sabrina and I have permission, because we took coursework with her, to keep a couple traps here. And if we see a tracked squirrel, a tagged squirrel, we're going to actually try to trap it and then call her, and she's going to drive the 12 hours up from Texas to do the surgery and take the tracker out because she needs the data. So if that happens, we'll get another one of those. But we did get one at the property close to my mom's, which is in Newton and Jasper County. So she does have Iowa data at least. So other trainings and things going on happened before this all went down. And then my biggest thing that I need to know from you guys is what my summer is going to look like. I've done very little previous, the past 3 months, just given COVID. A lot of other, it's a real wide berth of what the other counties are doing, programs going forward. Some are not doing any programming, they're just doing virtual, and they're doing putting things up on the trails and doing scavenger hunts and all those things. But other counties are doing camps with using restrictions of 10 and below, including the naturalists. Personally, I don't feel like I want to do summer camps in the same way I have been. I don't really want to stick 8 kids that don't know each other in the same building. Just with weather and things like that, it's going to be very difficult to keep them from being right on top of each other. So, but I would be interested to see what you guys have your opinion on other programs going forward. I would say with restrictions, but I don't know what you guys think.
So are you waiting for us to respond?
Yes.
Sure. We're looking for guidance.
Okay, so what would be your preference as far as moving forward for the program? Or just
My preference would be to do programs that are picked over thoroughly, so that if I have a program, it's very much small groups, and that things, whatever can be touched, can be disinfected between use. So maybe like I could do some canoe floats, because you can disinfect those, and as long as they know the partner that they're with, not a big deal. I've been trying to kick off a family camp out, which could be iffy, but if they know what they're, who they're with, it's not as big of a deal. We could socially distance. So my goal would be to pick programs that everybody could stay as socially distanced as possible and not touch the same thing over and over again. So I'd have to be really choosy about that. I guess my biggest, as long as I'm not being told that I need to get a whole bunch of numbers and get a whole bunch of people, I imagine that you guys are not in that boat, going forward. But
yeah, so the family camping thing, are you saying that you just have a limited number of families, or just one family? How would you do that?
yeah, it would have to be a limited number of families. Bring your own tent, bring your own cooking stuff. So that may not happen this year, but canoe floats, but that's about the only thing that or I can guarantee to disinfect and keep people separate on. So I get
I think
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Marilyn.
no, but I mean, if you have to restrict it to something like floats, and those are popular, then I'd say go with that. I mean, if you can't go beyond what you can do, and you just get frustrated. So yeah, I would say do something like that.
Okay.
Experience.
Have you talked to Andy out at Ledges to see how they're operating, or they probably don't know yet?
I have not heard about DNR interns and naturalists about what they're doing. I mean, a lot of what they do normally is roving interpretation. So they're literally going from campsite to campsite, taking things with them. That's not something my preference right now. It's going to be interesting to see because normally on the holiday weekends, I would send Sabrina out with, here, take the turtle, take the pelts, go talk to people, do a lot of these hands-on activities. And that's not probably my preference right now, having one kid touch some stuff and then move on to the next campsite, because you can't really disinfect a lot of those things. So I have not heard what the DNR is doing. Other naturalists are, like I said, all over the board. So most places are doing social guidance, like numbers. They're keeping it below 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was anybody asked to do certain programs?
Not yet.
No. I think most people are kind of all in the same boat. They want their regularly scheduled things to kick off, but they're not necessarily looking for the extra stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess, like I said, Katie and I talked a little bit about it today, and like she said at the beginning, there's a lot. I mean, every county's different with everything. We all know that, and there's some areas I'm sure that are hit harder than others that probably aren't planning on doing any, programming at all, probably for the rest of the year. And I don't really know where we fall in all of that with Boone County. It's just, with our close proximity to Polk, in Dallas, those high population bases, we're kind of right on the edge as far as the numbers of cases and things like that. And so, yeah, I think, I guess my opinion would be, if there's some of those things, like you talked, canoe floats, night hikes or whatever, where you can limit the amount of people that you have pretty easily, then I don't have an issue with it. But I think we just wanted, your guys' approval to go ahead with those things. And
Would it be something where we could limit it to just like Boone County people, to keep the people from the other counties that might have higher cases out?
I don't know. It's a good question.
My mom's in California, and they have one spot that's out in the country, and they opened up the golf course there.
Yeah.
But that one is in a county that doesn't have hardly any cases.
Mm-hmm.
So they just limit it to, they say you can golf, you got to play by the rules, but they're only having people from that county come in. It's not everybody else. It's only for county residents.
Right.
And I know that's California, and I definitely don't want to follow them, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, typically, Katie, I mean, I'm sure you don't know right offhand, but most of the people that come are typically Boone County residents or Dallas, Woodward area. Once you get down towards Madrid, we have some of those folks. But.
Yeah, the day camps are usually very typically my kiddos that are local. The floats are hit and miss. A lot of times people will come out of Polk County for a moonlight float. It just depends on who they hear it from. I have a lot of people come out of Ames too. A lot of people come out of Story County.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have 10 canoes, we could have 20 people, but if I can only take out 5 canoes, it could definitely be easier to limit it to the amount of just Boone County people. I could do more floats that way for sure. Although the moonlight floats are of course once a month, but the other ones.
Well, it's not going to be a typical year. I think you have to err on the side of safety and whatever you feel comfortable in handling. So, I mean, if you have 5 canoes and if you could even structure your directions as to have them be family units or something like that, then, maybe people wouldn't, if you get one uncomfortable person, that could, ruin it for everybody else or you or whatever. So, I think this is just an unusual time, and you'd have to look at the way you can best manage it, I think.
the hardest thing is it's all the unknown. It's like I could do all this planning and try to make it the best as possible, and then next week it could all tank again because we've got, you know, social distancing guidelines coming down from the top. So I haven't done a lot of, you know, so I can do more virtual, but some of the naturalists are really concerned about the amount of screen time that kiddos are getting right now anyway. So they're trying to find other ways to encourage the outdoor rec without doing a ton of virtual education. So
I don't know.
But yeah, like I said, I'm fine with it, you know, with whatever Katie feels comfortable doing as far as starting to schedule some of these things. Like I said, I think she just wanted your guys' approval. You know, that way we move. I don't know that it'll take a motion to approve, but at least just in the minutes stating, you know, you guys approve of us moving forward, you know, responsibly and to the, under the guidelines put forth by, you know, CDC, IDPH, and those entities. So.
I would just say, you know, do the best that you are comfortable doing, and if some things you aren't comfortable doing, then don't do them.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole year's practically been canceled anyway.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah. But no, that's said, we appreciate all you've been doing, Katie. And like I said, there's been, you know, obviously more law enforcement anyway this year. So she's, you know, kind of taken with what we've had to take, put in the back seat with the naturalist programs. Definitely stepped it up with law enforcement and keeping an eye on things. So we appreciate everything that you do.
thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Katie? Comments?
No, I'd make a comment. Thank you, Katie. You're making the best of a bad situation. I think we'll back you. You're the professional and you'll make decisions and we'll back you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I agree with that.
I'll ditto that.
Thanks.
Well, we're ready for a budget discussion.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to try to pull my screenshot here again. See if I can pull this up. All right. Did it work?
It's spinning.
Yeah.
Darn it. Okay. Well, it says my screen sharing is paused. Shouldn't be.
That's like what I get when my Wi-Fi isn't working.
Try it again. Nothing still?
Do you want to
Correct.
forward it? Do you want to forward it to me, Tanner, and then I can share it?
That'd be great. I'll do that right now.
You're gonna have to forward it to my KA Healy 0908.
Healy 0908. Is that at Gmail?
That's at Gmail. Yeah, KA Healy.
KA Healy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. All right. All right. I just sent it to you, but it's
I'll
still
share it.
sitting in my outbox. So I'll just go ahead and start talking. I sent this to you guys too. It's just a spreadsheet of our end of the year. You guys remember, those of you, I think we were all here last year. Typically, this is what I do at the end of the season, just to kind of show everybody where we're at as far as the budget goes. Again, if you can pull that up, that'd be great. Then Katie, once she gets it, we'll pull it up too. But so if you look at the top part of that, director salary, director insurance, regular salary, regular insurance, that just shows what we have remaining in the budget on the left column. And then the estimated final totals, which will be through the end of next month. I have gone through and kind of figured where we would sit as far as the estimated paid out from each of those line items. And the totals there, the 51,000, 364.01. If you subtract that by the 33,060.92, that kind of gives you a better shot of where we're at sitting as far as our budget goes for that. And of course, a lot of the surplus we have in that line came with Blaine being hired and Steve leaving us last year. So there's a little bit of the extra as far as our budget goes within our payroll. And then also seasonal employment too. We didn't have a full staff as far as seasonals went last year. So they are, there we go. So yeah, that's where we're kind of sitting there. And then if you go down where it says administration, maintenance and operations, recreation services, if you can, and I just basically pulled these numbers from our month-end reports. And if you want to follow along, you can kind of go into our expense summary for the general fund, and that'll show you those numbers are those salary and insurance subtracted with what we have left in the budget overall for each of those line items. So you'll see we have 2,069 in administration, 85,764.39 in maintenance and operations, and recreation services 3,145.19. So if you take all of those, total those, and then add those to the estimated total after payroll and insurance, that gives us estimated total remaining before this month's bills of $109,281.70. And then if you subtract the May bills from that, that gives you $49,139.12. So that's where we're sitting right now. Again, with taking into account with the bills paid, estimated for salary and insurance. There are a few things that aren't on there. Of course, the Midland bill's not on there. We won't see that here for another week or so. So that will take a little bit out of that final number. And then there's also a couple other things too that I'm kind of waiting in limbo to pay. We have the $5,000 towards capital improvements that we give to the High Trestle Trail Steering Committee Legacy Fund for repairs and maintenance and upgrades on the High Trestle Trail. So I'm kind of waiting to hear back from Lisa with INHF and see if other entities are still putting that in this year or not, or kind of where we stand with that. We didn't have our last High Trestle Trail Steering Committee meeting, so we'll probably have to wait until, I'm guessing she's just going to get correspondence from each of us individually and see where we stand there. So, of course, a lot of that left over too is the $25,000 that we had budgeted for the Grants Woods restroom facility, which didn't happen last year. So basically my plan with the rest of that, if you look at that near $50,000, I'd like to ask the supervisors if they will carry over that $25,000 for the Grants Woods improvements and carry that over into next year and put that in our conservation trust fund. I know I've asked them the last 2 years for money to be transferred and I haven't gotten really any response. So I'm gonna try again this year and see if that's something that they're interested in possibly doing, considering the year that we had last year. But with everything going on COVID related, I really don't know where they stand as far as budgets go and if that's even an option. So that's my plan. I guess, like I said, with the 25,000 of that, there are a few other items that we could potentially get that I was looking at getting for next fiscal year. And I've got a list. I've been working with Blaine a little bit on a list of those things and Eric, and I don't have it in front of me, but I can get it to you guys too. A couple of the bigger items, we talked about the kayaks for the kayak share program. We're still waiting on the locks and things for that, but I thought about getting some of those purchased. I know we talked about getting 4 kayaks for those, and we've done some talking with some of the other counties that do kayak rentals, and we decided, and talking with Katie too, we're not going to just go out and get the cheapo Sun Dolphins. They'll just end up in the bottom of the lake within a week. So we are going to spend a little bit of money. We're not going to get the hot, obviously top of the line, but there are some, I guess if you want to call them commercial grade type kayaks that we've been looking at that we can get purchased possibly out of this budget. And then also another bigger one is tilt trailer like we have up here at Don Williams. Right now, Blaine has without a trailer for hauling his skid loader, hauling mowers and things like that. So we've, he kind of brought that up to me last year when he first started. It'd be nice to have one of those trailers. Oh, there we go. There's a spreadsheet in case you guys didn't see it or catch where I was coming from. But yeah, those are a few of the items, big items that I'd like to try to purchase here before month end. I guess obviously with your guys' approval there. So what are your thoughts on asking for the 25,000 for the supervisors?
Well, we can ask.
Yeah. Guess all they can do is tell us no or not get back to us. So
Are you asking for 25 out of the 51?
yeah, 25 out of the 51 or out of the 49, 139. That's that bottom there, that bottom number there, estimated grand total remaining.
Why not ask for the 49?
I mean, I guess we could do that. I just thought, with the 25, with everything that was going on last year, and then even in, with COVID happening, in March, kind of definitely set us back with some of the actions we could have done. But with contractors kind of on hold, some of these other, the developers on hold, manufacturers on hold, kind of put us in a bind too. So that's where the 25,000 came from. But I can surely ask them, for any remaining. Might be a better way to go about it.
When do you talk to them?
I'm supposed to talk to them next Wednesday, I believe. I
What are
haven't.
you,
Oh, go ahead.
might be kind of interesting thing to just ask them, how much of that remaining sum would you be willing to move over into next year and
Yeah.
just see what they come up with? I
Okay.
don't think they'd know. Yeah, I would try it that way. And if they say, 30, then that's great. If they say 20, you could say, well, we're thinking like maybe 25. I don't know, but I'd kind of like to know sometimes if they even think about stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, if it's already in the budget now, if we can spend it on something for next year,
Yeah,
it's keeping their budget more consistent, which I think that they would like.
sure. Well, and that's the thing too, is, it'd be the 25,000 would go into the conservation trust fund for the restroom facility. So that would take off, another 25,000 potentially that we already budgeted for to be put towards another project, next year. So,
But we can keep the budget more consistent if they'll let us keep what we don't spend.
sure.
Because if we want to put up another cabin or two, because it makes sense, if the world gets back to normal again and people can actually go camping all the time,
Yep.
then there's more income. There's like a 20% return there.
Yep.
So I think a couple of them will finally understand that. So it would be better to let us have a little bit at a time instead of, oh, here's $50,000 or $70,000, go build a cabin.
Yeah.
Well, let's just take a little bit over a few years and build one, save a little bit over a few more years, build another one.
Yep. I agree. I 100% agree. And I think that's probably the approach I'll go at with them is, see what they think, let them know this is, and again, these are all estimates. And then again, once we purchase a few of these other smaller items, I'd like to get purchased before the end of the year. That number will go down a little bit. So maybe it won't be as frightening to them, but no, I definitely, oh, go ahead.
I didn't have much. It's just, but still, I'd go ahead and, ask for
What we have remaining.
Yeah, ask all that they can do is say no.
Sure.
So, and would
I
you,
guess, and then if they do say no, well, then we can ask, well, what would you be willing to?
yeah,
And I guess we can haggle from there and see where it goes, but
I'd go with you. I'd say I would go with you next Wednesday, but I could be spraying my beans.
okay.
But I think they're always in there in the morning or something.
Yeah, Wednesdays they are.
Wednesday morning, but that's all of them. But somebody's always in the room, aren't they?
Sometimes. I don't know. I'm not in the courthouse, this time of year very much anyway.
I was thinking somebody's in there on Tuesday.
I think you're right. I think there might be somebody in there Tuesday mornings.
Would you be opposed if I went in there and talked to them about
No.
this? Or
Absolutely not. I would love to have any support I could from you guys. That'd be fantastic.
okay,
And I can send you this file too and just show them kind of where we're thinking we're at. Like I said, I know it's going to be right around this number. The kayaks. Oh, go ahead.
I can print off the spreadsheet that's up
Yeah.
there now and just show
Yep.
them that.
Yep, that'd be fine. And like I said, I think the trailer, I would say between the trailer and the kayaks that we want to purchase, you're looking at probably 10 grand out of that too, maybe not even. So it won't be too far off of that number. And again, these are just estimates. So at least it'll kind of give them an idea of what we would like to carry over into next year.
So,
So yeah, that'd be great, Greg. I'd appreciate that.
okay. I'll try and twist somebody's arm.
Perfect. So yeah, anybody have any questions, comments on any of that, any of the rest of that? And I'll have more. I'll have next month. I'll have year end, everything year end, and I'll break all that down like I typically do and kind of show you where we're at as far as revenue and the other expenses and things too. So, but in the meantime, also, so the next claims pay. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, so the next claims pay is June 24th. So I'll have to have any claims into the courthouse by the Friday previous. They'll probably maybe let me slide by with that Monday. So that gives us a couple weeks to get these other things purchased. So kind of like we've done in past years, I might have to track a couple of you guys down to get some signatures on those and then just approve them officially at next month's meeting, kind of like we've done in years previous. So I'll keep you guys updated on that, and then I'll probably just send out emails, and if somebody's available or a couple of you are available during those dates, that'd be great. So, or before those dates.
Sounds good.
All right.
Any more on that?
Nope, that's it on that.
NFWF Monarch and Pollinator Conservation Fund grant.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of buzz through this quickly, and I sent this to you guys, the pre-proposal for this. We've been working on some projects. We worked on this grant through Prairie Rivers of Iowa here a while back, if you guys remember. Applied for another grant through National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and we weren't successful on that one. This one we actually have been. They've accepted or they're willing to see the pre-proposal for this project, and a lot of this has to do with technical assistance for private landowners that border public land, especially along the Skunk River and not Raccoon River, sorry, in Greene County, Des Moines River corridors and green belts. So basically this project, I'll just kind of read through the pre-proposal here. Our project will continue previous pollinator conservation work conducted in Story and Boone counties in Iowa, but with an increased focus on green belts, like I just stated, between the South Skunk and Des Moines River watersheds. These green belts host large areas of public land in Iowa dedicated to conservation, restoration, and recreation. However, private lands that fall within the green belts are often used for row crop agriculture, which provide little to no benefit for monarchs and other pollinators for forage and habitat. Because greenbelt public land is fragmented and interspersed within private working lands, further divided by different overseeing agencies. The goal of this grant is to increase connectivity of these public green belts through engaging private landowners who live in this kind of matrix of land between private and public to apply habitat practices on their lands. Currently, public conservation land in the South Skunk and Des Moines River greenbelts only measure 9.86% of the 2-mile river corridors in both counties. This project will expand conservation activities in the river corridor by increasing this land cover, conservation land cover. Some of the priorities set by NRCS and EQIP program has been to increase pollinator and wildlife habitat availability in both Story and Boone County. High priority projects that have been advocated in this area have been riparian buffers, prairie strips, wetlands, and pollinator-focused perennial plant establishment. This project will primarily focus on monarchs as it is main at-risk native insect pollinator species, as indicated in the program's request for proposals. This project will have a secondary focus on the federally endangered rusty patch bumblebee, which has been recorded in Boone and Story counties as recently as 2018. Additionally, this project will focus on pollinator species of greatest conservation need, indicated by the IDNR through Chapter 3 of the Iowa Wildlife Action Plan. Practices such as riparian buffers, prairie strips, and wetlands will increase the availability of diverse native nectar and pollen resources, as well as host plant availability for threatened and endangered butterfly species. So basically, a lot that this grant has to do with is a lot of technical assistance, which will be provided by Prairie Rivers of Iowa through their watershed coordinator and their other staff there, and then also through the county conservation boards between us and Story County. So a lot of the commitment for the conservation board will be pretty much technical assistance, in-kind money that we, labor, helping them conduct prescribed burns, helping them with technical assistance for prairie restorations, invasive species removal, and stuff like that. And then also educational component to that as well. I'm working on the numbers as far as what we will be able to support this project with as far as an in-kind match. And I can send that to you guys once I have that information put together. This grant isn't due until the end of the month. So I've been working with David Stein, their watershed coordinator, here over the past couple of weeks to kind of put some of these numbers together. And that way we got a good grant to push at them, and hopefully we can possibly get some of this money for this project here in Boone County and Story County. So yeah, again, just wanted to kind of run that by you guys and let you know that we are applying for that. Again, not a huge monetary commitment from the county. Most of it will be in kind and technical support and helping perform some of these activities on their lands, on private lands. So, any questions on any of that? I know it was kind of fast.
Are they looking to buy ground or just private people putting their own in?
Private people putting their own practices in. Yeah, not looking at acquiring anything. Just like I said, mainly focused on technical assistance for, planting riparian buffers, CRP, getting in wetland preserve, or getting in WRP programs and other programs like that.
So do they give you extra incentives or anything to put it in CRP?
As far as the landowners,
Yeah.
that would be a question for David. I don't know if there are any federal dollars that would be, available for private landowners, or if it's just more technical assistance and things like that. But that's something I can ask him.
Just curious, because I have a farm that's right along the Des Moines River, is why I'm asking.
Yeah, and if you guys can see that map, I'm not even trying to screen share because it's not working, but the map that I sent you guys kind of shows those areas that are of greatest concern along those corridors along the Des Moines and South Skunk as well. So.
Yeah, if you go on the Des Moines up to the top where the first bend is, kind of the second bend that goes to the left or the west.
Uh-huh.
That's right where my field is, right there.
Oh, okay.
By the old Stumbo gravel pit.
Oh, yep. Okay. Well, yeah, no, that'd be, and kind of like that, the last grant that we applied for through NFWF. We may, be looking for letters of support and, people that to participate in some of these things too, if we make it through this pre-approval process. So I'll keep you guys updated on any findings there. Or new developments with that too. Any other questions, comments?
Looks like a good program.
Yeah, I think the last one we applied for there was quite a bit more of a monetary commitment, I think, from each partner, where this one, again, it's more, a lot of it's more in-kind technical assistance, guidance for these landowners. And then also to put some of these practices in play, if they had to, utilize Boone County Conservation or Story County Conservation and our staff to help them do invasive removals and these types of restorations on these different areas. So yeah, I think it'll be a good project.
Well, are we ready for Boone Forks update?
Yep. Just real quick on this one too. We had a meeting here a couple weeks ago, just to kind of update you guys on what we've been up to, which again, with everything COVID related, hasn't been a whole lot. But our last in-person meeting back in March, we met with a design company and we're working on developing a website for the Boone Forks region. And we're just kind of on the downswing of that. We've actually got a photo shoot lined up here. Actually, I don't think we have the shoot lined up, but here within the next few weeks, we're going to have a photographer come out to each of the counties and spend a day and get really good pictures of all of our assets and things like that, which is good because we haven't gotten a lot of pictures of some of these. We've upgraded cabins a little bit. We've upgraded the Lodge by the Lake, the campgrounds, new bait shop and things like that. So they're going to come around, take pictures, and then those will be on our the Boone Forks website, and then available for us to use as well. They've got basically the design, the whole template pretty much ready to go. We've just been working on pushing information to them about our parks, trails, wildlife areas. So we're pretty excited to see it roll out. We're hoping it was originally supposed to roll out beginning of June, but again, with everything happening in the world right now, I think we're pushed out probably till the end of this month, which is fine. It gives them more time to kind of fine tune things. And, once we do launch the website, hopefully people will be able to go outside more and, utilize some of these facilities and recreation areas and parks and trails and things like that once we have the website rolled out. So again, I just kind of wanted to update you guys where we were at with that. We're working on some regional cooperation on some different programs too. We had talked at one of our previous meetings over the winter about getting some sort of regional event between all three counties lined up, and we've kind of been focusing on the river cleanup days. And I know I've mentioned this to you guys at previous meetings. We're going to try to tie in the river romp here, the Dragoon River romp here that we do with the landfill in Seven Oaks, and tie that in with their river cleanups that they have, and kind of do, 3-county river cleanup day, and, put it all together. Or I guess it'd be over a series of 3 different days, and put it all together and put it on the website. And see if we can't draw people from around to help out with these things and get them involved. And we've talked about in the past offering, after all 3 are done, have like a little get together between the 3 counties and a camp out and stuff like that. I don't know if that's going to fly yet this year. I'm not even sure if the floats are going to fly yet this year, but I'm meeting with the folks at the landfill tomorrow, and then Joel Bryan from Seven Oaks to kind of talk a little bit about what's going to happen with the river romp here in Boone County, and then how we can incorporate that into the regional effort. So hopefully again next month I should have more updates. Hopefully possibly have a website that we can definitely utilize and promote the heck out of this Boone Forks region. So
You have to be 18 to be on that river romp now.
I don't, Katie, do you? I don't think so. I don't think that's in one of the requirements.
Because I used to take my Madrid kids on it, and then for some reason there was an age restriction, and I wondered if there was still an age restriction on that. If you could take, the grandparents could bring grandkids if they were old enough to be a helper.
I think it's 14.
Oh, 14?
I think it's 14. I know they were younger than 18-year-olds when I did it, when I helped lead it last year.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know then. 14. That'd be perfect. All right, thanks.
Well, yeah, and like I said, I should have more information on that tomorrow. I'm sure they're probably going to make a decision here soon whether or not to have that thing or not. So hopefully, probably no more tomorrow. So. All right, and that's all I have on that. And then just one more quick thing about the trails. Katie, I'm going to send this to you. I should have done this already. But oh, since mine's not screen sharing.
Okay, so it is 18 and under for the canoe portion of it, but
Okay.
the land-based cleanup is 13 and under. So I was incorrect on the canoe side is 18.
Okay.
But if you want to assist with the cleanup on the land, you can be 13.
All right. Good.
All right. All right, Katie, I just sent it to you. All right. So yeah, just a little background. I can probably just email it to everybody too. So that the last Trails Committee meeting that we had, Snyder and Associates, we'd asked them a couple meetings ago to come up with a few different options as far as routes from Ledges to, or from the city of Boone down to Ledges and beyond. You guys probably remember we had some issues with the original alignment coming out of Boone and then down, what was that road? Gosh, darn it. The one just north of Ledges. So that is off the table. We're still looking at possibly Oriole Road, which is the road that again heads south down into the bottom part of Ledges State Park. Quill Avenue, like I had mentioned earlier, from out on the east side of Boone, south to 250th into Ledges. And then a couple other different routes that we had them look into was the old Honey Creek Railroad right of way. And did you get that yet, Katie? Still hasn't come through. Okay. All right. It should be on its way here. So yeah, the old Honey Creek Railroad right of way. If you guys aren't familiar with Honey Creek Golf Course and the neighborhood that sits right there, there is quite a few of those parcels border that old abandoned railroad right of way. But Snyder did some looking into it, and they think the actual right of way is owned by the larger ag parcels to the south east of that neighborhood. And then that continues over to Montana Road, and then the old river crossing there at the Des Moines River, the old Kate Shelley Bridge, I believe, if I'm not wrong, the original Kate Shelley Bridge. So that option is on there. Of course, you would have to get over the river and then back over the river if we wanted to end on the east side of the Des Moines River down by Swede Point. So the biggest question the committee wanted to know was, is Quill Avenue, what is everybody's opinions on Quill? Namely Marilyn, because you live right off of Quill Avenue.
Yes.
And if you guys have any other, oh, there we go. There we go. Katie's got it up there. So, yep, the yellow over here is Quill. The blue would be, that would be that old railroad right of way that goes under Highway 30, basically from McCoe's Park, down the Honey Creek area, down Montana, over the river, kind of down some of that land to the west there of the river, and then back over down at Luther, potentially. And then the other red route there would basically be using that Honey Creek Railroad and then coming back and cutting through and then hopping on Oriole, kind of a little bit south of that Honey Creek neighborhood. That one, I think the committee's kind of off the table, just because if we were, you know, why not just use Oriole Road complete all the way out from Highway 30 down to the ledges. And then, yeah, of course, like I said, Quill. So Marilyn, I guess, what are your thoughts? Just so we can get it in the minutes and I can, you know, let the folks know what at our next trails meeting, kind of what your thoughts are on using Quill at least.
Okay, well, I think we know most of the people that live on Quill Avenue, and if you've ever been on Quill Avenue, it's got a lot of twists and dips and high and lower points. It doesn't have much of a shoulder at all, and it is a very busy paved road because so many people use it to go to the ledges, and it's oftentimes used as a back way to get to Boone if you're coming off 17. You don't have to stay on 17. So with those things in mind, I would have to say it's a poor choice. People be pretty much risking their lives being on that paved road on a bicycle.
Okay.
So,
well, yeah, and
yeah.
that's definitely something, you know, we've all talked about before. You know, as far as the topography, the right of way not being that wide compared to other roads that could potentially be possibilities. But I think the biggest thing, you know, they want to hear, you know, I think what'll probably end up happening is we'll probably try to get another meeting with those folks that will live along that route. So we just, you know, again, want to be as transparent as possible. If that's a route that we're thinking of, we want to hear what the public has to say. So,
all right.
so we'll probably, I'm not sure, again, that's up to the committee, but again, they just kind of wanted your opinion. And then the rest of the board, what do you guys, if you guys have any opinions on any of the other routes? The other route I didn't really, Katie, can you scroll back up just a little bit? The other route that I didn't really talk much about is so there's the Honey Creek Railroad right of way, and then where it comes down to Montana, you can see where it splits across the river. Well, there's another route that's that blue dotted line. What that is that's down along the floodplain down there in the river, and then you can kind of see the white line that's just above that or kind of runs parallel. That's that 890 elevation line, which is the floodplain contour that typically the Corps won't let any development below that line. So
Right.
that would fall below that line, but we were talking a little bit with Rich from Snyder about maybe trying to find some aerials to see if we hug that side, does it ever flood there, you know, or has it flooded there even in the past 10, 15 years when we've had a lot of these 100 and 500-year floods. So that's something we're going to be looking into too. Because, yeah, you know, number one, will the Corps even give us permission to do that? Number two, is that somewhere where we want to build a trail if it's going to be inundated by water, you know, 3-4 months out of the year?
Yeah.
that is another route. The one I think most of the committee is kind of leaning towards that makes the most sense is just utilizing Oriole Road. There's plenty of right of way there. The only thing is the grade. I seem to remember Rich and Mindy both saying that the grade on that road, you would almost have to do some other altering as far as the trail, not necessarily the road, but the trail that follows in the right of way to keep it at that happy, I guess, grade, which keeps it ADA compliant. So, but again, trails meeting would be next Thursday. Marilyn, yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I'll find out and I'll send you the information. Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I said, okay, yeah, I can come. I don't think I
Okay.
have anything going on.
Okay. Well, yeah. And then again, like I said, you can kind of reiterate what you just did here, as far as where, you stand is at least with the trail on that route. And then what, I guess what probably some of the neighbors are going to think too. So.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, anybody have any other comments, questions about any of these other routes or Quill or anything else that you think might work? Because gosh darn it, these are about the only 4 or 5 routes that we have left that may work. So at least for the time being. All right. And you guys too, obviously more than welcome to come to these meetings as well. I can start sending the agendas and stuff like that too. I think typically Kurt will send them to Marilyn and Jennifer. I think we talked a while back about you guys kind of tag teaming if possible those meetings, but I'd be glad to, invite you guys to these meetings, and especially if they're Zoom meetings, they're a little easier to take a few minutes and hop on and see what's going on and then hop off. So, but. All right, that is all I have for the agenda. As far as open discussion goes, just a few things. Oh, sorry, Al, I didn't mean to cut in.
No, that's fine.
All right. Campground upgrades in Campground C are near complete. Like I told you guys earlier, we're just waiting on some site markers to finish up there and then do a little more rate grading to the road, and then that's all done. We had a delay as far as opening the shower houses. We were able to open Memorial Day weekend, but we were pushed back because we had a water main break out here, which we do have repaired. And we've got 2 of the 3 shower houses open, waiting on a part for the boiler for Campground C. We'd been approached by the DNR here last year. Ben Dodd, the local fisheries biologist, had asked us to put in a little boat ramp at Dick Sissel, not just for the DNR. They go out there and they do a lot of their testing and sampling of the fish out there, but also for a lot of the folks that go out there in canoe or bring little bass boats. There was never really an access to get onto the lake or the pond, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But we put in a little boat ramp there. So I actually went out and used it the weekend after. My son and I went out there fishing. It works fantastic. So campground hosts, we've got all of them lined up, got them in their their respective duties. Since we do have the campground restrooms and shower houses back open. Again, just kind of working with them to figure out the best way to keep these things clean. We've gotten some guidance from the DNR and the other county conservation boards as far as the different duties, the additional duties that need to be done aside from what they would typically normally do. And so far that's working out. Again, we haven't had a lot of time to test it, but it seemed to work over the weekend. We've had quite a few volunteers out here at Don Williams working on clearing brush for the Frisbee golf course. I just got an email from Steve, the designer, who's kind of been coordinating all this, wondering when we can get rolling as far as pouring pads, ordering baskets and things like that. And I haven't gotten back to him, but it's in the budget starting next month. So we'll probably keep rolling on that, especially while we have the volunteer help. They're fantastic. They've gotten a lot of work done. We've been going through some updates on My County Parks, making things a little bit more user-friendly, some other additional items as far as GPS locations on, if you search for cabins within a 30-mile radius. It'll pop up any cabin that's available from this date to this date within that radius. So that's kind of a cool new feature. And then some other security measures on that as well. We're working with KWBG Radio again this year on their spring auction. We've provided them with some cabins and golf and camping gift certificates, and in turn they give us airtime for the amount of those gift certificates. So that seemed to work out really well. Gotten a lot of response from folks that have used those and have bought the auction items too. So other than that, we've been busy. We've been busy just trying to, like I said, keep things rolling here and get open back up pretty much to full capacity, or getting things back open, getting things, campgrounds back full, and trying to keep people socially distanced and get them outside, and things are working out pretty good. So haven't had many complaints, or if any complaints yet. So any other questions on any of that or anything else for tonight?
No,
All right.
We
Did
need to
Excuse me.
approve the bills.
For
Yes,
bills, yep.
Gonna ask, yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the monthly bills?
I'll move to approve them.
Greg moved.
I second. Marilyn,
Aaron
second.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Bills are approved.
All right.
Well, I guess we got through everything. There's nothing else. We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
And I'll second.
But I'll speak up at once.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
All right. Well,
Aye.
I'll get a hold of Greg and Marilyn tomorrow, and if something falls through, I'll get a hold of you and we get the bill signed, and then here over the next couple months, I'll probably have a few more to sign too. So I'll just be in touch via email or phone. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Enjoy your evening before the rain hits.
Thanks,
Okay.
Katie.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.